In our society, there are three sectors: the public, the private, and the nonprofit. That third sector, the nonprofit, is what this show is all about. My guest with me, Jane Holman, is the Executive Director of WayNet, and I'm so glad that you're here today.
Thank you, Darla. I'm happy to be here.
And as I said, as we were talking before we started, we just want to make sure that we have the opportunity to tell our community the exciting things that are happening at WayNet. But I always like to start with a little bit of history, kind of why WayNet was created, maybe a little bit of time frame about how long we've had it available in our community.
Okay, WayNet has been in existence for 15 years now. Back before,
I knew that was going to surprise me.
Yeah, back when the internet was just a glimmer in everyone's eye, and I was having to explain what email was to everyone and why it was important to have a website. My job's changed very much since I started.
I'll bet.
It started with a group of profit and not-for-profit organizations here in town who decided that we needed some way of getting information out to the world. Mm-hmm. And really kind of just, like I say, the website thing was just starting.
Right.
People didn't know what it was. And so Indiana was giving grants at the time to all the different communities in different counties in the state. Okay. It was available, and so Wayne County applied for one with this group, and we received it and started out.
So 15 years ago, we were on the cutting edge.
We were, and we still are, rather, because out of, I think there were 30 plus groups that applied for and received grants from the state of Indiana. We are one of 2 or 3 that are left.
Oh my goodness.
So it's really a blessing that we still have this,
Sure,
I think.
It is. It's a valuable resource, and that's why I think it's so important to have you here on the show, because I want to make sure the community understands why you exist, what you do, and why it would be important for them to know how to access it and how to participate, actually.
Yes,
that's probably the meat of where we'll talk. But
very much.
I always like to give an opportunity for my guests to give a little bit maybe of their story, because I've known you in connection with WayNet probably as long as I've known you. And I know a little bit about the earlier years when it was very much your role was educational in the community to explain what the service would even provide to the community. So can you tell us a little bit about your story and why you got connected with WayNet and why you're still connected with WayNet?
Well, I am a Wayne County native. Grew up here, went to Northeastern High School and graduated, went away to school, went to Purdue, and moved away from the community. Mm-hmm. Came back to raise my family here, and had a part-time job when my children were small. And in that part-time job, taught myself web design. It was the early years when it was fun and
right.
Just very simple to teach yourself. When this group started, they needed an executive director, and I applied and received a position. And so for that, it's just been the best job ever, because what I get to do is I get to tell people what a great place to live, work, and play Wayne County, Indiana is. And it is. There are so many hidden features here, so many not so hidden features that we all know about, and the little wonderful things, wonderful events going on, wonderful. I was just working on our architecture page today, and it was just amazing that I've got a whole list of buildings that are on the Library of Congress website that are archived there that we have a list of. So it's just fascinating little tips and trivia that I'm picking up all the time. It's just
I think
fun.
That's what I've appreciated so much about my connection with WayNet is that it's positive. Mm-hmm. I think that you help us celebrate our community in so many different ways with news about the activities that are happening, and I've always appreciated the photos, the pictures that you've shared about the community, and that you invite others to share as well.
We do.
So then it truly becomes a community place to be. So I've always thought that was a neat thing about the site, the positive aspect of it. So But we want to talk about some of the features of WayNet itself and why those features are important as a part of the website. So where would you like to start?
Well, you asked why people should come,
Okay.
and why they should come back. And first of all, to reach WayNet, it's waynet.org. It's really simple.
And it has to be easy because I remember it all the time. And if I want information about anything, yes.
WAYNET.org. And on the home page, you'll find we have a large section of pictures. And those pictures change weekly. So come back every week. We'll have a new set of pictures up. And we also have a section called What's Happening. You have to scroll down just a little bit from the home page. Or you can do a hashtag What's Happening and find it easily. You can bookmark that. That's one way to find it. And what we try to do is pull out information of all the events that are happening that week. The highlights, there's always much more than I can fit on there. But we'll try to pull out the highlights from that week and put it on there. On the home page, if you're into pictures, there's also a section down below that's community pictures. We pull those from our Flickr group. So if you're a photographer, we invite you to join our Flickr group, post your pictures, and your pictures could show up on WayNet.
There's one way to participate. I know we're going to have a whole list of ways for people to participate before we're finished with our conversation.
Right.
And I know that I've told you this before in our conversations about why I love WayNet, but it's nice because it is such an easy web address to remember. And then what I tell people is, I don't have to remember an address or a phone number or a name of a particular leader within an organization because I'm not really good at remembering all those things. But if I remember waynet.org, then I can go there. And that's really how I, if you could say, promote that site. That's what one of the most valuable pieces to me is a source of information. So I think that it's great for people to understand that's all they have to remember. So
you just go to waynet.org, and from there you can find links to schools. You can find links to any government office that's appropriate for Wayne County, our local offices, city offices. We have links to all the information about all area communities. So if you need details about Greens Fork, there's all sorts of history on there about Greens Fork, which a citizen has offered to us and shared. So that's very, very fun. History information, if you're looking for capsule information of history, and then what we do is we give you the highlights, and then we push you in deeper and give you ways that you can research it. Go to the library, other websites you can reference.
Good. I wanted to make sure we had plenty of time to talk about the calendar because I know that that's something that we really wanted to make sure people understood both how to use as someone that would be interested in finding out activities, but also it's very important that people understand how they might use it to spread the news about what they're offering to the community. So would you expand a little bit upon the calendar?
I would be happy to. That's one of our most used options on WayNet. We pulled the highlights from that day's events are on the home page. Just a listing of them. But if you click on calendar, what happens is you go in and you'll see a full page calendar of all the events for the next, I think we have it set for 3 weeks or a month right now.
I think so.
Excuse me. And then what happens if you click on that specific event that you're interested in, you'll get full details. You'll get where it's at, information about what's going on, phone numbers if you need additional information, sometimes websites. So there's just a wealth of information available. And what people don't realize, I think, is we have almost 50,000 visitors a month that come to WayNet. So it's just an amazing way, and it's free. We allow people to post for free. So it's an amazing way to reach out to the community and let people know what's going on.
And who do you want specifically to make sure you're inviting to put activities on that calendar?
Anyone can post an event as long as the event is open to the public, and it occurs within Wayne County or within a county that touches Wayne County.
Okay.
It was just Wayne County. We opened that up several years ago, but it's kind of rare, But we recognize that people in Milton will probably need people down in events down in Connorsville, or Hagerstown will need events in Newcastle, et cetera. So anyone that is within one of those communities, and it's open to the public, and it should be there's a listing on there that tells you what's like political, and advertising. Those things aren't options. So
we have a couple of minutes left, Jane, and I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to share with our community anything in particular that you would want them to know specific to WayNet that we haven't covered yet? Just a couple minutes left.
To continue on the calendar, on the left-hand side, they'll find a button that says Add Event. And all they have to do is click on that Add Event.
It's that easy.
And fill it out. Fill out the form. So it's that easy. Other information, they can find news there. If they click on our news page, there's a listing of press releases. So right away, as soon as they come in, we try to post those available. So information, news, what's happening, sports and recreational opportunities. There's just a wealth here that you wouldn't imagine, you know.
I think that that's one of the things I wanted to make sure the community understood is that I've visited several times when I was looking for something. I have a 15-year-old son at home, and I just wanted to know what's available. And I've lived in Wayne County a long time, but I don't necessarily know all the activities that are available for us to visit. And so I wanted to encourage people of all ages to visit WayNet and click on the calendar and browse. Just spend some time there enjoying the pictures and that kind of thing, but also getting to know the kinds of information that they can find there, because you never know when you're going to come across some type of activity that you never knew before that was happening in the area. So
there's lots of discussion in the community right now. Some the Positive Place Initiative talking about all the exciting things that could be happening. But I was excited when the meeting took place because we're doing so many of these things already. They're out there. People just need to know about them. So this is one way for they can go find all the wonderful things that are already happening in Wayne County.
Exactly. One more time, give us the web address and let us know how we can connect with what you're doing.
It's waynet.org, WAYNET.org. I'm Jane Holman. You can find me at the City Building at 15 North 5th Street.
Exactly. I forgot to tell them about that.
And phone number is 939-0857 if they need to
Jane,
reach me.
thank you so much for being here. I just love what you do. I love the positive way you present our community, because I know that you believe that it is a wonderful place to be.
I do.
And we're blessed because of who you are and what you add to our community. So thank you.
Thank you, Darla.
And we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Third Sector. I have with me now David Free, who is our local 211 coordinator. Welcome to the show, David.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you on the show because I always know that our community, it's like this hidden jewel in our community. We have this wonderful resource that a lot of people still don't know about, and as we'll discuss, it's not a brand new service, but there's still a lot of people that don't know what 211 is. So I'm really glad to have you here on the show.
Oh, thank you.
If we could start with a little bit of history about how 211 got started, why it got started, and then we'll surprise everybody by letting them know how long it's been around, and some people will go, I didn't even know about it.
Well, 211 started as kind of an initiative to take some calls, take some pressure off 911.
Okay.
911 gets a lot of calls. They're important. They're just not emergencies,
Right.
and that's what they do. They only do emergencies. So someone came up with the idea, let's have another number that people can call if they need food, if they need shelter, clothing, things that are vitally important to them, but not emergencies. So that's where it started, and it grew from there. There are 211s all over the country. Pretty much every state has 211s. Many states are totally covered, have 100% coverage.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Indiana right now has, I believe it's, right now we're 100% covered. We've just started an initiative to try and get the counties that weren't covered, the uncovered counties, are now covered, and that's went officially live just a couple months ago.
Oh, so recently.
So pretty recently, yeah. But now anywhere in Indiana, if someone picks up the phone and dials 211, they will be directed to someone who can help them.
That's how I explain it. People will go 211 and I'll say it's 911 for information.
Right.
And they go, oh, well, that makes sense.
And information for Health and Human Services.
Okay.
I do make that clarification too. Some people call and want to know what's playing at the local movie theater.
Oh, no.
We don't do that. We'd have someone call and wanted to know how much I think it was a dilly bar, Dairy Queen costs.
Oh, well, that's certainly information.
Yeah, it's information, but not exactly what we do.
Okay.
We do Health and Human Services, but we are there, and we're there to take in any kind of need. Actually, I would prefer someone call and it not be something we do than have someone be afraid to call.
That's a good point. Right.
Call. We're there. We're nice. We're waiting to take calls. So if you're not sure, I will
Give it a
retract
try.
what I just said. Call anyway. Maybe we will know the price of a deli bar.
How long has 211 been in Wayne County?
211 has been here for 4 years.
See, I knew that was going to shock some people.
Yeah, yep. It's a great initiative, but we aren't funded by the government. We're not funded even by the state, so there's not a lot of money for publicity. So we just have to get the word out the best we can as we go.
We'll give it our best effort here.
Okay, yes, this is a great way to do it. We give talks, and we've done initiatives like we put bookmarks. We've taken bookmarks to elementary schools, and have the elementary schools and middle schools too pass out bookmarks for us.
I have seen those.
Oh, good, good. We did some of the local grocery stores. They put the bookmarks in the bags. So we're trying to get that. We did coloring pages. And we went to some of the health fairs and gave out coloring pages so the children could color it and maybe put it on the refrigerator.
There you go.
So a little bit of different ways, but yeah, it's still amazing. People will call and they say, I didn't know about this. And so we're glad that we're getting more people knowing about it all the time.
Wonderful.
I wish everyone could find out about it right away. But
How long have you been with 211 here locally, David?
I've been here for 4 years since its conception. Started in July of 2008, that would be, and we went live in December 2008. I've been here pretty much the whole thing. It was kind of one of those things when I was hired, they said, oh, here we go, we want to go live right away. And I was like, oh no. So we got everything together as quickly as we could, and it's been growing ever since. We're always adding new services to the database, and I guess I should go back and explain that when you call 211, we have a database, and we consult that database to try and find an agency that will help meet whatever need the caller has. The database now has over 1,000 programs in it.
Oh, wow.
Constantly growing as we try and get the word out and get more and more people to know about 211. Not just people calling, but agencies that can be added to our database.
Right.
It's all free. This isn't nobody's charged. You're not charged for calling 211. You're not charged for being in the database. It's nothing like that. It's independently funded. It's just a way to help people in the community get solutions to whatever problems they may have.
And you gave us instruction on specifically the areas that you're able to give information about. Where are the calls most frequently inquiring about? What are the most frequent types of, and what might be some areas where people are not tending to call, but you really know there's a need out there and you wish they would?
Well, it's going to be surprising. This is going to be another shocker. Maybe it's not going to be quite as much of a shock, but money. That's the financial resources are the biggest calls.
Okay.
Utility bills. With the economy the way it is right now, everybody needs help, and so that's the biggest need. Utility calls are the top, always the top. Rental, food comes in next. There are a lot of good food pantries and places that can help people with food in the area. So those are always top calls. We want people to know too, as I'm talking about this, that 211's anonymous.
I was going to say, it popped into my head that that's really, we were talking about the economy and how there are so many needs. This is a wonderful service in that you're not, you're just inquiring about information. You don't have to divulge your personal information. And it just dawned on me that that's a really wonderful way of getting the help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help.
That's right.
So that's a wonderful way to be able to ask and not to have to worry about that.
Yeah. So we're always encouraging more people to call, and we all need help. We all need help at one point in time or another. So there's no reason to be embarrassed.
So when they call in, will they speak to? I guess I think probably a common question might be, do I speak to a real person? If I call in and ask for a question, am I speaking to a real person? You
are. Sometimes in the morning, I don't feel like a real person, but yes, you always get a real person. If you call between 8 and 5, you get a local person.
Okay.
We would like one day to have the phones answered locally all the time. But unfortunately, because of funding right now,
resources,
we can only answer the phone locally from 8 to 5. But 211 still 24 hours, 7 days a week. So if you call any time, you will get a person, and you will get the same help, because what happens is the calls are right now transferred to Indianapolis. They have our database.
Okay.
So it's not like they're going to go, oh, we don't know, we can't help you. They can still help you, and they'll use our database to help you. But I would encourage people, if they can, to call between 8 and 5, because they can get a local person.
Right.
We know the area, we know what's out there.
A little more personal knowledge of the resources, right?
Yes,
that's
exactly.
A little bit different.
Yes, and we've got a few people there that'll answer the phones, and be able to help them.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So we were talking about that there's actually two aspects to this, not only people calling in who are seeking information, and that's certainly a message that we wanted to get out, that there's a broad range of services that you have information about. You said over 1,000 now. That's wonderful, and for people to be understand that their calling is anonymous, which is, I think, a very important part of that, and that they're just that you're there to help, and that it's okay to ask for help. But the other aspect we talked about briefly was the whole idea of how do you even get, you have a database, how do you get that information? Who gives you that information, David?
That's a good point to bring up. When we started, we just sent out flyers to everybody we could think of to send out to get their information, put it in the database. And we got quite a lot of responses, but as flyers go, you know how when you send out mailings, you never get it 100%. So since we've started, we've continued to reach out to organizations and to get their permission to put them in the database. But it's an ongoing process. We're always not only looking for people to call so that we can help them, we're looking for agencies to call us so we can put them in the database. Things are starting up all the time. There's new agencies, new programs always starting up, churches, whatever, are starting different programs to help people. And sometimes we'll have people call us and say, I need to know about this organization. And we're like, oh, we don't know about that. It doesn't happen very often,
right,
I point out.
Right, That's
but
good.
It does happen. And that's an ongoing task, is to try and get every program. We want every single program in the area to be in our database so that we can always be able to help somebody. So if agencies are out there and they're listening and you have a program and you're not sure if it's in our database, give us a call. I'd like to point out too that 211 is not emergency, as we talked about earlier. It's not 911. Anyone can call anytime, and you don't have to worry that, oh, is this the right call? If you want to see if you're in the database, call 211. If you need help, call 211. If you want to talk, call 211 because it's non-emergency and you're not going to get in trouble for calling. So yeah, it's very simple, open,
And is
easy
that
access.
how you would prefer the community organizations to give you the information about the programs and services that they offer? Would you prefer they call and give you that information? Is there another route that would be preferred as far as in providing that information to you?
I'm open to anything as long as we can get them in the database.
Okay.
If they want to call and give me the information, that's fine. We have official forms so we can send them.
Okay.
I can email them the forms.
Okay.
That's probably the best way. Even if they contact me, it's probably what would happen anyway. I would email them the forms so they could shoot it back or fax it or email it or mail it back, however they want to send it back. But any way they want to contact is fine with me, because just as long as we can get their information in the database.
Is there any particular area of service that you don't feel like you receive frequent calls about, but you don't feel like you have enough information, that you might kind of like put an appeal out, that if you're providing this type of information or service, please give us a call?
Well, we just passed the holidays, and the holiday assistance is always important, and that's kind of a tough one because it's not always there. So when we hit the holidays, sometimes we're rushing around trying to find agencies and churches that are offering, free meals for Thanksgiving or toys or clothes for Christmas. So that's one thing that always comes up every year that we need.
One of the things that I thought about is making sure that organizations realize that once they have the information in the database, it might be nice to every so often call and make sure that that information is updated. And I think that even just a phone call to review that with you might be helpful.
And we do update. We are actually required by our standards to update every year. So we do send out forms. So if you see a 211 form, Area 9211 form, don't throw it away.
Don't
it's
throw it
not
away.
junk. Fill it out.
ignore it.
If it's fine, then send it back to us and let us know the information's okay. If there's anything wrong, then correct it and send it back to us, and we'll update that information. Make sure it's the most up-to-date information we have.
Good. We only have a couple of minutes left, so I always want to make sure to end with an opportunity for my guest. If there's anything else that we haven't covered that you wanted to get out to the community, I was going to say usually we wrap up with making sure that we have contact information shared, but the great part about this is it's about as easy as you can get.
Yeah,
Just call 211.
Exactly.
So is there anything else that we haven't covered, David, that you want to make sure the community knows?
I would say just help us get the word out. If you know about 211, that's great. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody. If you're an agency, ask us for flyers. We do have flyers and information bookmarks we can give
That's
the
important.
agencies
Okay.
so they can hand out. So yeah, just
Spread the
helps
news. That's
spread
what
the
we need
news,
to do.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you very much, David, for being a guest. I really appreciate what you do. It's very valuable. I know of people that have used it. I've participated as far as making sure that there's information in some of the organizations that I have worked with. So thank you very much for what you do.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us on the Third Sector.